The EasySprout is made of 6 pieces: the solid base, the growing vessel, the domed lid, the small seed insert, the vented flat lid, and the solid flat lid. When using small seeds, we snap the small seed insert into the growing vessel. When soaking, we just put the entire growing vessel inside of the solid base. We start with 2 heaping tablespoons of seed. This will fill our sprouter, which is about 1 quart. This is our French garden mix.
So our seeds have been soaking for about 12 hours. Now it's time for their first rinse.
The idea here is just to get the seeds clean, so you give them enough water to do so, either straight from the tap or use your spray attachment. Now the big deal here is draining. This will be the same every drain cycle, twice a day. Okay, we've got the growing vessel here. This has got a little seed insert for the small seeds, but this is draining. Centrifugal force and beating. Looking at these in close-up, you'd see how much water is actually sticking to these seeds. You see the water spatter across the side of the sink, and when that stops spattering, you've drained adequately. Okay, now we're going to put these back together. While it's sprouting, the EasySprout sits like this, where the little teeth on the growing vessel sit on the little lips of the solid base. And we have a domed lid, which in the case that the seeds are this low, we just put on like so and set aside in the corner of your kitchen. They don't need light. They can't use light yet. We're showing you rinsing every 24 hours. We rinse every 12 hours.
12 hours later, rinse again and drain thoroughly. And again, 12 hours later. It's time for another rinse and drain.
This drain is the same as the last drain. Just be thorough about it. Once again, in that position, the lid on like so.
12 hours later, rinse again and drain thoroughly. And again, 12 hours later. At this point, you'll see that some of your sprouts are actually beginning to green up. You'll also see that they've grown into quite a friendly mass. We refer to that mass as a clump. To break up that clump is to allow them to green more evenly as the days pass.
So to break up the clump, put your growing vessel inside the solid base, put some water in, and then just stir it up with a fork. You don't have to be too gentle here, just be reasonable. Don't want to hurt the sprouts, but it's amazingly hard to hurt the sprouts. Now they're loose, and you can just rinse them slightly again or not. You can consider that a rinse. And then it's, again, a matter of draining thoroughly. again, set out of the way. You can still go with the inverted lid, or at this point, if you'd like, you can put the lid on this way. This domed lid does not snap in. It just rests on a little lip in the growing vessel.
12 hours later, rinse again and drain thoroughly. And again, 12 hours later. It's time for another rinse and drain.
At this point, we're going to get hulls off too. So I'm filling it with water. I'm gently breaking up the clump, and there are hulls coming to the surface. These hulls can be removed. It's an easy matter at this point. So we've agitated. I'm using the fork to keep down the sprouts, and I'm just pouring off some of the hulls. You do not have to do this at this stage, but why not?
Just repeat this a few times. Add some water, stir the sprouts up, push the hulls over, pour them off, stir the sprouts up, maybe pour off some more hulls, maybe add a little more water, maybe pour a few more hulls off. Just do it for a little while. Get some hulls off. You get it.
So I'm going to be done taking the hulls out of there, and I'm just going to go through and rinse them once more. And you do the same thorough drain, which becomes slightly more work the bigger the sprouts get, the heavier the container is. Dome lid on.
12 hours later, rinse again and drain thoroughly. And again, 12 hours later. It's time for another rinse and drain.
Since I removed hulls yesterday, I'm just not concerning myself with it today. We're just going to pass on that for now and go through the normal rinsing and draining. You remember the drill by now. Beat and spin.
12 hours later, rinse again and drain thoroughly. And again, 12 hours later.
The leaves are open, and really, if you want, you can harvest them at this point.
We often grow for one more day. Sprouts generate a lot of heat when they're growing, so try to be the sprout in the center of this mass, and see how long you need water to run before it reaches you and cools you down. That's how long you should rinse. Be the sprout. Try it.
The bigger they are, the more time it takes to put water through them that you can see. It's not much time in any case. Once again, drain thoroughly.
12 hours later, this is your final rinse and drain, so be very thorough. And finally, 12 hours later, it's harvest time. If you want to, you can dehull your sprouts. It may add to the shelf life of your sprouts. In any case, it'll make them slightly more aesthetically pleasing. So, if you do want to dehull, we have a separate video where we're dehulling this actual crop, so tune in to that one. If you'd rather skip that step, snap the solid lid onto the top of your EasySprout and stick them in the fridge. They'll keep well for a couple of weeks if they're adequately dry. You can use a plastic bag instead. They're fine too. We use Peak Fresh bags. They're the best option of all. But really, you'll eat these long before they perish, so don't feel like you have to buy anything else.
That's it for this edition. Happy sprouting!